Hey everybody, Kimberly here, and it's always an exciting day in my house when I receive a game that I backed on Kickstarter or GameFound. And so I just received Isle of Trains, All Aboard by Seth Jaffe and Dan Keltner. Now, I'm really a big fan of Seth Jaffe. I just know he's got this real analytical brain, and he just has a nice eye for a slight amount of crunchiness that really engages the player. And so I was really excited to get this copy because this game is all about building up your engine as a mechanic and as a train car, which you are putting these box cars and train cars and engines and cabooses all on this long train where you're going to be loading cargo and passengers. But the twist here is that when you load into your own cargo with passengers or goods, you're not going to gain bonuses, but you will be able to take them to the locations that they need to go to, which is going to be a way for you to gain victory points. The twist comes in that when you load into other players' cargo or holds for passengers, that's when you get the bonus. And so there's this real incentive to play into other players' trains, which of course gives them the passengers and the coal and the steel and the those goods and resources that they want to deliver to those locations to get points, but it also gives you such a good bonus. And sometimes your turns could be more than just the basic 2 actions that you get, because you're gaining extra actions, you're gaining extra bonuses. But really what you're doing is you are playing cards into your train car. That's one of the first things you can do, is play a card. And when you look at a card, you're looking at the engine cost at the bottom right corner. Can your engine sustain that amount of stress and heat? So if you look at the green in your engine, it's going to tell you how many of those red symbols you're going to be able to add to your train car. And you're not allowed to exceed that until you upgrade your engine. So that's the first thing you have to keep in mind. The second thing is the bonus at the top and the victory points that the card is going to earn you. And these bonuses are triggered when other players place their cards, which are the resources, and or the passengers into that particular train car, whichever it's asking for. So you play cards, you draw cards to pay with. Every single card is just the cost that you need, and it just is discarded into the supply. So it's got a little bit of that race for the galaxy feel where you're wanting to build the card, but you also know the card is a resource that allows you to build another card. So a really, really clever mechanic there, and it's super easy and straightforward. Players are also drawing passengers from the bag, and these passengers are going to go out to these different locations. There are 6 of them on this nice little card map that you put together with just cards. So they're going to go out there, and when you deliver them to those locations, you're going to gain those bonuses, but the first player to get there is going to get a bigger, better bonus. And the more passengers that go to the same location depreciate, but they're still really, really good, so you definitely want to go there. And that's pretty much it. Those are those actions. So on your turn, you take 2. You can take, you can build, you can load, and you can deliver, which is great because those are all those fantastic, fun train game keywords, but also super easy basic actions. And you are just going to keep playing turn after turn until you reach that trigger for whatever game player count you have, which is a 2, 3, or 4 player game. Those are going to be triggered by delivering 3 passengers to a location. When you do that, you're going to move the train car on that game end trigger track. The other way is if a player takes one of the cards because they have paid for that basic location. They are essentially delivering goods to that city, that town, that locale, and they are taking that primary objective card into their player area. I will say that getting into this game was a little challenging. It's kind of a rules-heavy, persnickety, symbol-driven game because it is so compact. It comes in a small box, and there are just a lot of icons everywhere. And throughout the game, you are going to be continually looking at the little booklet here saying, okay, I've got cabooses. What's my caboose? It's number 7 caboose. Here's what 7 caboose does. Here's what my engine, hoppers, tankers all do by number, by name. And so there's just a lot of that flipping back and going back to the reference page, the resource, checking this out, making sure that you know exactly how your cards work so that you can do the best on your turn, to really be strategic with your actions. So with that said, I understand it can just kind of be a slow going first game or two. I think the game will continue to grow on me as I play it more and more, and I really do appreciate that style of game that encourages players to help out other players as you help yourself out. And that's just a really kind of challenging. It almost feels weird doing that because you want to beat your opponents. This is a competitive game. But it has a very, very fascinating engine building where you are encouraging and enticing people to come and add to your particular train cars and your engine so that you can deliver those cargo, goods, and people to the locations, gaining those primary and secondary objective cards, and delivering the folks needed to trigger the end of the game. There are a ton of ways to get victory points in this game, and so just really maximize that. So if you go into somebody else's train car and it says gain a victory point or two and do something else, that's 1 or 2 points that you've got locked away, and you collect them in-game, and then there are, of course, those end-game victory points that you will earn. Really, really fun, streamlined engine building game that has a couple cool mechanics that I really appreciate. So it was a delight to receive this as my Kickstarter and to get into it and to play it. I can't wait to share it with a bigger player count. I've played it with 2 players, and I really look forward to playing with 3 and 4 because of that player interaction, playing into other players' train cars and having more to pick from. When you're playing with 2 people, you have one other person and you look over in their train car and maybe you don't have a passenger or you don't have the good that they're looking for. And so you can't play into their train car for the bonus actions. But if you have another person and another person here, you can just imagine the possibilities, the choice that comes with that. And of course, you're looking at how well you think your opponents are doing and trying to help out the person who you think is perhaps not earning as many victory points. I thoroughly enjoyed my plays of Isle of Trains All Aboard, my latest Kickstarter delivery. I also look forward to multiple plays in the future, not just of that 3 and 4 player, but also the solo. There is a solo mode for this game, so yes, 1 to 4 in a nice size tiny box. Love it. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.